What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Misplayed Magic, the only Magic the Gathering YouTube channel doing giveaways based on how I draft. You'll see up on the screen here if I get 0 wins in this draft. If I do horribly, I'm giving away a collector booster pack of Final Fantasy all the way down to if I get 7 wins, I'm giving away a draft to one of you. All you have to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below on how you think I did. Before we jump in, we are going to spin the challenge wheel to make things a little bit more challenging for ourselves. Let's go ahead and give it a spin and see what we have to do today. Alright, so for today's challenge, we are going to be mana screwed, which means we cannot take any land fixing. We cannot take towns, we cannot take anything that would fix our mana, and we can only play 15 lands. So we're going to be scraping by with the mana that we do have, and hopefully we can get some wins in today's video. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, hopping into this first pack, our rare is a land. It doesn't fix our mana, so I guess we could technically take a Clive's Hideaway, but we are not going to be picking that today. I think it can be an interesting build around, but we probably just won't have enough legendary creatures to make this worth it. Other considerations in the pack. Adelbert Steiner, great artifact card, really equipment card. This can do some work as a 2-drop. The Quistis Trape is also quite strong in a spell slinging deck. Being able to cast a spell for free, not for free, but like again, is really strong card advantage. Combat Juggle is pretty good, especially if we're not going to have a lot of lands. We need to get a way to get some lands. And then Paladin's Arms, Bard's Bubble, both okay equipments. I'm going to go with the Adelbert Steiner here. I think it's a really, really solid 2-drop. And we're going to have an eye out for as many equipments as we can get here as we move into this mana screwed draft. Hopping on into this next pack, we've got some interesting decisions around us. So Arden Izunia is actually pretty good. We can pay to target player searches their library for a card, then shuffles and puts that card on top. At its worst, it's a 3-mana 2/3. I think we actually are going to try this out. I'm not super familiar with the boast mechanic. I haven't played with it before, but I think it's good. Choco Seeker of Paradise is pretty strong. I think it requires you to have a lot of birds, and you really want to have a really good landfall deck to make this work. If we're only playing 15 lands, we're probably not going to be able to make the Choco Seeker of Paradise work all that well. Stasis Chocobo is really good. Ultros is also really strong, but I think we're going to try out the Arden Izunia here, and we'll see if that card is worth it.
Are you sure about that?
I lied. I'm taking the Ash Princess of Damaska. It's really good with the equipments, and I really want to try to make a good equipment deck work here today. Moving on into our third pick, there's a couple of choices for us. I think the Dark Knight's Greatsword is probably the strongest one, just because it's a solid equipment. It goes nicely with the Adelbert Steiner and the Ash Princess of Dalmasca. And we still might go in the swamp direction here playing black. Hope Esteem is interesting, but I don't think it's all that strong, especially because milling out is not a huge thing, and also lifelink is not a huge thing in this set. I will say we have that and the Adelbert Steiner, so if we ever were going to make some of those lifelink payoffs work, it might be in this deck. So I'm really between that and the Dark Knight's Greatsword. I think the Greatsword is just better. I think also milling our opponents out is typically pretty good with all of the renew effects. Moving on into our fourth pick, I do think we actually want a Blitzball Star in our deck today. I think this card is pretty strong if you have a ton of artifact synergies, and because we're taking it so early in this draft, I actually think we'll have a chance to draft a bunch of equipments and make this Titus Blitzball Star actually pretty good. So very excited to pick that up here over something like a Golbez Crystal Collector, and we're going to see if we can't make that work. Hopping on into this next selection, I do think we take a Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum as a really solid removal effect. Taps down a creature, and then its activated release cannot be activated. So very excited to pick that up. I'm not a huge fan of the side quest Catch a Fish or the Magic Damper, and I think we want to try to make blue-white work at least a little bit here. So we'll take the Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum. Hopping on into our sixth selection. I don't think we want the Balam Garden. We're not going to have a commander in today's episode. So I'm between either the Aerith Rescue Mission, which I think is super solid, or an Ice Flan as a decent enough top end, but something that can help us go and get a land. We're only going to be able to play 15 of them. So we are going to need cards like an Ice Flan. So it's either an Aerith Rescue Mission or an Ice Flan here. I'm going to go with the Ice Flan. I'm a little bit worried about our mana working out today. And I do think this is kind of a sign that blue-white is somewhat open. We can either take another Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum, or we can take a Retrieve the Esper. I'm kind of leaning the Retrieve the Esper just because we have the Blitzball Star, and I think that artifacts are going to be important in our draft here today. I think we'll get other removal effects, but I really like the Retrieve the Esper quite a bit here. Hopping on into our 8th selection, we could take another Dark Knight's Greatsword. Our only issue is we cannot fix our mana, and we can only play 15 lands. So do we really want to be splashing for a 3 mana equipment? Probably not. But what else are we taking here? A Lunatic Pandora is not great. It's just so expensive, and we're never going to get to 6 mana. I guess we'll take the Dark Knight's Greatsword just for the potential upside. Hopping on now into our 9th pick, and things are drying up a little bit for us. There are no blue or white cards. I thought we were reading that sign correctly, but maybe there's just a lot of other good cards there. So here we could go Tifa's Limit Break. I'm not a huge fan of. Hilgigas is okay if we want to go get some lands. Bard's Bow is fine. Adventurer's Airship is fine. I think I'm going to take the Gigas into our sideboard and the potential that we need the mana to... We need to go get lands with that. Hopping into our 10th pick, I'm very excited to pick up a Lionheart. I actually like this card quite a bit. It goes along with the Adelbert Steiner and the Ash Princess of Dalmasca. So hopefully we can pick up more good equipments like this one. Moving on into this next selection, do we want a Judge, Master, Gabrinth, or do we want a Kirin Merchant? I'm going to go with the Gabrinth here. I don't love the Merchant all that much, especially because we can't take any towns, so we're not going to be able to do the second mode of that and draw a bunch of cards all that easily. Here we'll take an Aerith Rescue Mission as a totally fine 4-drop. I think we're okay if we have to play that and just going as wide as we possibly can here. Here we'll take a Gold Saucer. Is that land fixing? I don't think so. I mean, we're not going to play it regardless. Here we'll take another Aerith Rescue Mission. So we're going to have an eye out for things like the Crystals Chosen and just going wide effects because we have a couple Aerith Rescue Missions already. Hopping on into our Pack 2, Pick 1, we could take a Grahatia, which is pretty solid. I like that we can draw some cards, and then if artifacts go down, it's actually pretty solid for us. I also like the Summon Chocomog. I think if we are playing 15 lands, we're going to be drafting some sort of beatdown deck. I think this card helps us do that, especially with the Aerith Rescue Missions and some of our more aggressively slanted cards. We could also take a Rook Turret as a super fine 4-drop. I think I'm going to go with this Summon Chocomog. I really don't want to play the Telegray Sage either. I just don't think we're going to get there in most games. I'm going to go with the Summon Chocomog and hope that we can just curve out and beat down our opponents. Hopping on into our Pack 2, Pick 2. So here we've got some decisions to make. Restoration Magic is pretty good. It's pretty good. It can help save something that we have. Magitech Infantry, if we are beating down our opponents, can be good. I'm yet to see it be amazing. Right, this card is decent enough. And then we also could just take a Paladin's Arms or a Sahagin. Sahagin actually is pretty decent with our Aerith Rescue Missions and our Retrieve the Espers and our Lionheart. So I think we probably actually just take a Sahagin here. It's super boring, but I actually think it's going to be decent enough for us. And I want to make sure we have enough 2-drop creatures that are good. I'm debating on Restoration Magic. I'm going to go with the Sahagin here and play it a little bit safer. Moving on into this next pick, we could take a White Mage's Staff as a super solid 2-drop. Goes along nicely with the Adelbert Steiner. We could also take a Snowvilliers or a You're Not Alone. So a lot of good options here. I'm going to go really safe and take the White Mage's Staff. I like what this card can do, and I think having the ability to curve out is going to be really strong for us. Alright, I do think we picked somewhat correctly. I do think blue-white's open. I think here we take another Titus. I know it's legendary, but I think this card is pretty strong. We've already got a couple 4-mana effects, so I don't really want the eject. And now we're just going to be eyeing every single artifact that we see because we've got double Titus. Hopping on into our 5th selection, it's an interesting choice. We either could go with the Ilmeg Pixie as a really solid 2-drop, or we can go with the Magitech Armor as a pretty good 4-drop, and it's an artifact. If we did that, we'd probably be cutting one of the Aerith Rescue missions, which I think I'm okay with. Or we can just take the Ilmeg Pixie. We've only got a couple of 2-drops as it currently stands. I'm going to take the Pixie here. I like it just a little bit better, but I can see the argument made for either one of those. Hopping on into our 6th selection, very excited to pick up a Dreams of Laguna. Don't have to think too hard about this one. Kieran Merchant's okay. Catch a Fish is eh. And Clive Sideway is not that great. So we're going to take a Dreams of Laguna here. Moving on into our 7th selection. Adventures Inn is not land fixing. It actually is the opposite of land fixing. I don't know. I guess we take it. Ring of the Lucci is okay. But I think we'd much rather be playing like a Retrieve the Esper, Aerith Rescue Mission, or Lionheart on 4. I'm going to take the Adventurers in the off chance that we want to end up playing that. All right, now we've got some interesting decisions. I think 3 of these is probably our limit. So I'm eyeing either a Fate of the Suncrist or a Sahagin here. I'm going to go with a Sahagin because we actually have a lot of things to do with 4 mana. Moving on into our 9th selection in this pack, I'm taking a You're Not Alone as a really, really solid combat trick, especially if we are on the aggressive side of things. Now we'll take an Instant Ramen. I don't think we're going to end up playing that, but we might need some artifact and then card draw effects. Here we'll take a Rook Turret. I can see a world in which, you know, when we have a bunch of other artifacts, we are drawing a bunch of cards. Elixir is not good. We're going to put this into our sideboard. We've got a pretty good looking blue-white beatdown deck here. Hopefully we can continue to get some good cards in this last pack. Coral is fine. I don't think we're going to end up playing it. We could. Catch a Fish is not what we're looking for. All right, moving on into this last pack. What do we have here? So I'm going to start laying out just our creature curve so you all can see what I am seeing. I'm going to take out everything that is not a creature or does not make a creature. So we're definitely light on removal effects. We've got a kind of a removal spell in the Lionheart. We've got the Dreams of Laguna is a card draw effect. Stuck in Summoner Sanctum's okay. You're Not Alone is a good kind of combat trick. But we're pretty light on removal effects. I'm thinking we could go with the Quistis Trape here. Or we could take another Retrieve the Esper, which would go along with the Sahagins and also the Titus Blitzball Stars. I don't really feel the need for another 2-drop, so I'm just going to take a Retrieve the Esper and maybe take out an Aerith Rescue Mission or 2. Hopping on into this next pick, this does have an affinity for artifacts, of which we have some. We don't have a ton. I feel like we've missed out on some of the equipments, but the Retrieve the Espers, the Rook Turrets, I think we're supposed to take the Valkyrie Aerial unit here. Even though it is expensive, we can only play 15 lands. I think we're fine with that joining our deck here today. Moving on into our 3rd pick, that is a late Sephiroth. This card is awesome. It can be really, really strong, especially for us killing things, but I don't know that we're going to be splashing it here. So for us, we could... There's not a ton for us. I think it's probably just a Scorpion Sentinel. It is an artifact, so it helps with the Valkyrie Aerial unit and the Titus Blitzball Stars. And here's where I'm like, do we have 3 Titus Blitzball Stars? Is that insane? I think so many times this card will just be kind of dead in our hand if we have 3 of them. But what else are we taking here? It's not another Aerith Rescue Mission. Do we take a 3rd? I'm going to take it. It's not great. I think we'll probably end up cutting it. Hopping on to our 5th pick, we've got a couple of interesting decisions now. We could take a combat tutorial, which is really good, or we could take an eject as more of an interactive type spell. I'm going to take the eject. I think it's a little bit stronger, and it is a 4-mana spell, which interacts nicely with our Sahagins. Moving on into this next pack, I do think we take another Sahagin. I think we're okay playing 3 of those. It's not an artifact, but it is going to help with us being able to beat down our opponents. Moving into this next pack, that is a late Gilgamesh, which is pretty strong. I don't really think we need it in our deck, but again, I don't think we're going to take any of these cards really. Coral is okay. We'll take the Gilgamesh for the gems. Moving on to this next selection, we could take a Sage's Newliths. It is an artifact. It is an equipment with the Adelbert Steiner. I actually like that a little bit better than the You're Not Alone. Here, I think we'll take a Monk's Fist too. It just interacts really nicely with our Titus and also our Adelbert Steiner. Here we'll take a Dreams of Laguna. And like I said, we can only play 15 lands. I think we might actually play a Blitzball. So this is kind of what the deck's going to look like today. It is super crunched together, but it actually looks somewhat decent. I could see us winning games of Magic with this. Here we'll take another Aerith Rescue Mission. I actually think we might play one of those. You're Not Alone Wheeling is good too. Alright, so here is the deck we are rocking with today. We were mana screwed as our challenge. We couldn't take more than 15 lands. We couldn't pick any towns. We've got a pretty cool looking deck here. I think we have the ability to curve out and beat down on our opponents. I'm actually pretty excited about that. Triple Sahagin with Dreams of Laguna and a lot of 4-drop non-creature spells. I'm very excited to see how this deck looks. 15 lands is going to be tough. I think the tough part is going to come when we actually start playing. But let's go ahead and jump into it, see if we can get some wins with this blue-white beatdown deck. Alright, our opponent goes first in this one. They have chosen to take a mulligan. I think we keep this. We can play the Sahagin on 2. Hopefully we can draw a land in our first couple of draw steps, although it's not a guarantee. But if not, we can also use our Ice Flan to go and get a land. Magitech Infantry is a good start. They do go down to 6 cards. We draw a land, which is great. So we're going to go Sahagin on 2, which should do a good job of blocking the Magitech Infantries. They're going to attack us with a 2-1 though, which is pretty strong. I do think we continue just playing the Sahagin on 2. And then next turn, we'll kind of have our first decision. I think we'll probably just play the Summon Chocobog for mana efficiency's sake. They're doing what we're doing. And they are going to attack us with a 2-2 and get a life. We will block it. You're Not Alone is interesting. I do think now we'll just play out the Summon Chocomog. I think it's a good blocker on this board. And we are not going to be attacking. Dragoon's Lance is good. It's funny. I've not played against a lot of blue-white beatdown decks, but our opponent is doing the same thing that we are, which is kind of hilarious. I do think now we are interested in just making a bunch of 1/1s. We're going to create 3 1/1s that are going to turn into an attack as 2 1s. And then we're still going to be holding back some stuff to block whatever our opponent has. They are not going to be attacking into us. They also are stuck on 2 lands, very notably. They're doing a great job while stuck on 2 lands. I'm tempted to just swing out and play the You're Not Alone and take out their Sahagin. I think that makes the most sense for us. So let's do that. I don't think they're going to double block our Sahagin anyways. And we'll just kind of deplete their side of the board while keeping ours somewhat intact. We're going to give the +4/+4 to that creature. And then we are just going to play out our Sage's Newliths here. So just continuing to build out our side of the board and getting their life total a little bit lower. And then eventually I think our Ice Flan will be good. Our opponent is still stuck on lands and still playing things. So shouts out to them. They are doing as best as they can here. I do think now we'll just play Retrieve the Esper. And then we will attack with our 4/5 that cannot be blocked. Gets us closer to casting the Valkyrie aerial unit as well. They finally draw a land, which is good for them, bad for us. Fate of the Suncrist is great, so that definitely slows us down a little bit here. But we still can play the Valkyrie aerial unit, which is probably pretty strong here. So let's start by attacking everywhere, and then if they don't have a removal spell, we'll be able to just kill them with the Valkyrie aerial unit. What I kind of didn't realize is that if they kill the 3/3, actually I'm fine with that. We won't play the aerial unit, but we'll be able to play it next turn. Yeah, I think we're fine with this. Should have thought about casting the aerial unit before combat. But now we'll just play the Scorpion Sentinel, and then we'll play the Valkyrie Aerial Unit next turn. I guess we'll equip here with the mana that we do have. So a little bit of a stumble there on our part. Hopefully we aren't penalized too badly for it. And we can still play the Valkyrie Aerial Unit next turn, which will be good. Titus Blitzball Star is interesting. I do think now we just play this. Okay, that was bad. So now they can counter it. So we're kind of misplaying here. But I will say, they'll get to Surveil 2. And we'll still get to attack everywhere here, which won't feel so bad. So we'll get him down to 2. Hopefully we're fine. Delivery Moogle is good. Albeit not fantastic. Because they still have to block our Scorpion Sentinel, and we can just tap it down. Alright, we are not penalized for our interesting decision-making there. We're still figuring out this deck, figuring out how to play with it, but we win this first one. Very excited to be 1-0 in our challenge. Alright, hopping into this next one. Our opponent goes first. We really don't have any 2-drops, even though we have a lot in our deck. We've got the Blitzball Star into a Lionheart or into a Rook turret here. So can't feel bad about that. We do draw a 2-drop, which is awesome. So we'll play the Scorpion Sentinel first. We could think about playing the Blitzball Star before the Sentinel, just so it turns into a 3-2, but I think we're okay as is. Undercity Dirat is pretty good, but we have something that can just block that forever in our Scorpion Sentinel. Dragoon's Wyvern is pretty strong here. I will say we have the Lionheart in hand, so hopefully we can destroy that next turn. So now we are hoping that we can draw one of our 12 lands that are in the deck. Doesn't feel like a great probability. Playing 15 lands, would not recommend it. But if we do, we can play the Lionheart next turn and then attack with the Blitzball Star and actually start to do some damage. They're going to attack us with the Dragoon's Wyvern here, which is fine. We're going to play a Resentful Revelation, which is good. Into a tap land, so we don't draw a land, which is tough. I think we're supposed to go get it with the Ice Fawn. So I'm just going to Island Cycle during our turn. We're going to play out that island, and then we're going to pass. I guess we could tap down there 1-1. I'm not going to, though. And then next turn we can play the Lionheart, take out the Wyvern, grow our Titus Blitzball Star. So we definitely do get slowed down there a little bit. We also might just play the Rook turret, honestly. Because then when our artifacts come in, it allows us to draw cards and discard cards, go find those lands that we need. Here I think we're fine taking 2. Albed Salvagers is pretty strong. Pretty strong, especially with some of the sacrificing they might do here. So we'll have to be very wary of that. So I think we do just play the Rook turret. We'll grow our Titus Blitzball Star. We are definitely on the defensive here a little bit. But we'll make this into a 3-2 so they can attack us with these Salvagers. We're going to try and block their Dragoon's Wyvern with this, and then hopefully we can hold on for a second. And when we play our next artifacts, we'll be able to draw and discard cards. But we are certainly not out of the woods yet. Okay, they are going to attack us with the Dragoon's Wyvern here. I don't think we're going to block. I think this means they might have a combat trick of sorts. And I think us just keeping the Rook turret alive is going to be really beneficial for us. I have no clue what that attack was. Maybe they have the blue mana, the +1/+1 and hexproof until end of turn. So I think now we Lionheart and we try and go get a land. And I'm going to take out the Dragoon's Wyvern this way. It also grows our Titus Blitzball Star into a 4-3, which is good. Okay, so we are going to kill it, but it's going to come back. And it's going to make another 1/1, which is pretty dang strong. We are going to draw a card and discard a card. I'm not super passionate about the... I guess maybe it's the other Titus. I don't think they have a removal spell. I'm going to discard the Titus just for maximum upside here. And then we are not going to be attacking. We do still have some good blockers out there, so I'm hopeful they can't attack us quite yet. But we are quickly running out of time here. All right, so they're going to attack us with the Undercity Dire Rat. I think we block with the Scorpion Sentinel. We just force them to have whatever it is. And if they don't, that's also fine. Okay, interesting. What to do now? I think it's probably just to retrieve the Esper. Continue to grow our Titus. And draw a card, discard a card. We will take that action. I think we discard a... Or maybe it's just a Dreams of Laguna. Yeah, maybe it's a Dreams of Laguna. Because we want to cast that for 4 anyway with the Sahagin that we have. And now we can still play the You're Not Alone defensively. So I think that's right. And then we are not attacking. We're going to continue to hold for a second here. I will say we don't really have a good answer for the Albed Salvagers. So that might just slowly but surely eat away at us. Alright, so we're going to pass to attackers. I assume they're going to attack with the Sentinel. I think this tells me they don't have a combat trick. Or a removal spell. And if they do, they're playing this game so defensively. Which is fine. But I think this trading with one of our things is totally okay with us. They've got an Ice Magic. So I think now You're Not Alone, the Scorpion Sentinel. And we just take out their Scorpion Sentinel. So it becomes a 5/8. We still lose our creature, but we would have anyways. So we still take out their thing. We keep ours alive. Look, it's not great, but we had to do something there. Interesting. So now we can go double Sahagin. That is interesting for sure. I think we start by attacking with the Titus Blitzball Star. And then we make them block uncomfortably. So I'm going to tap down their Undercity Dire Rat. I assume they're just going to take 5 here. And then we're going to go double Sahagin and just play this really defensively. We got to start doing some damage to our opponent, or else they will just slowly but surely kill us with the Albed Salvagers. And I like this as well, because now the eject next turn, we can attack with these. Dreams of Laguna, we can attack with these. And then Retrieve the Esper, we can attack with these without fearing anybody blocking them. So I think that's going to be decent for us. Resentful Revelation's great for us, so they can't really do anything this turn. Sahagins hold the line for us successfully. Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum is interesting. I think we start by ejecting the Albed Salvagers. We're going to buff both of our Sahagins and draw a card. And this way we can attack like this pretty aggressively. And I'm going to tap down their Undercity Dire Rat. So our opponent is down to 10, and I'm hopeful that this means that we next turn can Stuck in Summoner Sanctum something, tap something down with the Blitzball Star, and Arden the Usurper
Hello.
is so good.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Okay. So, I think we just lose? Yeah, I think we just lose here. It's got Menace and Haste. Yikes. Menace, Lifelink, and Haste. Icefallen is great, so we can tap down something that we have. Yeah, we're just in a tough spot there. So we'll take 7 here. They'll go back up to 15. I think we're just dead. So... Oh, this is tricky. Yeah, we just lose, unfortunately. We've got 6 mana. We can go Chocomog into Stuck in Summoner Sanctum. And then we can try Stuck in Summoner Sanctum, one of the things they get back with the Arden. What stuff is it? This is an activated ability, and this only stops I'm sorry, this is a triggered ability, and this only stops activated abilities. So I think we just lose. We'll play the Chocomog. We'll play the Stuck in Summoner Sanctum, tapping down the Arden. And we will give it the best swing we can, but we fall short here. I will say Arden is fantastic. We're close here, but we just can't quite get it done. What do they have? Yeah, we give him to 7. I mean, we tried, but we go down here. Unfortunately, it's going to happen. Arden the Usurper, great magic card. All right, hopping into this next one, our opponent goes first. I think we keep this. It's nothing spectacular, but we've got a Monk's Fist into a Summon Chocomog, eventually a Dreams of Laguna, so can't really complain with this starting hand all that much. I think now we'll probably play the Sahagin first, just because if we draw like a Blitzball Star, that's going to be something we want to play the Monk's Fist afterwards. Sahagin's pretty good, though. Our opponent is doing the strategy of not playing anything. I guess we'll play the Summon Chocomog and see what they do. We'll attack with our 2-3. Okay. Next turn, we'll probably Dreams of Laguna and try and find another land. Squall is solid. I do think now we Dreams of Laguna. We try to get a land. We do not want an Ash. We do get a Plains, which is fantastic. So I guess we just play a Sage's Newliths, which is fine. And then next turn, we'll probably just attack everywhere. I assume they're not going to be attacking us. And then we can Lionheart the Squall Seed Mercenary to finish the kill. Oh, they're going to attack us. Okay, I'm with that. Would be good if they had any creatures in their graveyard. They don't. X-Death is super solid. So now, what to do? I think we just play the Aerith Rescue Mission, and we make a bunch of 1/1s. These are going to be really good at blocking the Squall, and then ultimately us going wide is going to be good for us as well. I'm going to untap our Sahagin so it can block next turn. They are going to trade with our 3/1 hero, which feels pretty good for us. Kefka's Tower is really good, so we're going to need to... wow, Shambling Seath is not great, though, because it is tapped. So we're going to need to kill our opponent as quickly as we possibly can here. I do think this involves us just attacking everywhere. And then we will Lionheart the Squall Seed Mercenary. Fate of the Suncrest out of the graveyard is cool. I cannot even hate on that. Okay, so they'll take 4. They're down to 3. Do we dare try and kill them with the Lionheart next turn? I think we try. So I'm gonna change my my idea here. Instead of killing the Squall, I'm gonna try to Lionheart our opponent to kill them next turn. So all we have to punch through is 1 point of damage between a flyer and 3 other ground 2/1s. We are gonna draw a card just to see what we get. I don't really want a Sahagin. And then hopefully we can do a point of damage next turn, and then we can Lionheart our opponent, because it is any target. It is going to be hard for them to cast things from their library as well, just because they have to pay life instead of actually paying mana for it. Holy cow, they are attacking us everywhere. So I think we block the Squall, and we'll take 3 as it stands. What in the world do they have? I'm going to block like this. We can't kill them, and we get there! All right, I don't know what they were doing at the end, but we're now 2-1 on the day in a Mana Screw Challenge. All right, hopping into this next one, we are on the draw. I think we keep it. We've got a 2-drop into a 3-drop. We're not going to see many hands where we have 3 lands in our opening hand. We just have to hope we can draw them. So I think we'll keep this, and hopefully we can draw some plains and islands off the top here. All right, so we're going to keep this, And hopefully our Sentinel can be okay on 2, and then eventually we'll get to play some more and more expensive spells. Alright, so we don't draw a land quite yet. We've got a couple more draws at it. We've got 13 out of 32 cards in our deck are lands. That is also not a land. I think we will play the White Mage's Staff first, actually, to get a little bit aggressive. If they counter that, that's okay. I actually think the Sentinel's a better blocker. Dreams of Laguna is fine. Our opponent is probably going to have some lands. Jill Shiva's Dominant is so good right there. So good. So, yikes. Now we'll just play out a sad Scorpion Sentinel. Oh, we need a land so bad. So bad. But we are mana screwed. So we can't... We saw this coming. But Jill is really strong. I don't even know how we would get rid of that. Okay, we draw a land, which is great. I think now we just play out the Titus. I'm a little afraid they're going to counter whatever we play. But I think they're just going to transform the Jill next turn. Oh, I don't like this. I do not like the spot we're in. Let's play the Titus. If they counter it. I mean, we just can't really play around this. Looks like they have an eject, which is good at slowing us down. But doesn't kill our Titus, which is, I guess, decent. So if they just transform their Jill, it's pretty solid. Dragon's Wyvern is also pretty good. So if we draw a land, we can actually Lionheart the Jill, which would be fantastic. So we need an untapped land, please. Thank you. So now we can just Lionheart the Jill, which I think is going to prove to be strong enough to warrant us doing. We're going to attempt to kill the Jill. Oh no. What do you have? Ice Magic, returning it to your hand is good. I mean, I don't think we attack. And they can play the Jill again, bounce our Sentinel. It's pretty good. If we go untap land, we can play the Blitzball Star into the Sentinel, which I guess would be decent, turning into a 3-2. But we're taking 3 here, at least. We don't go untap land. We do draw a Rook Turret, which is interesting. They're probably going to make a 4-4 next turn, which is really good. I mean, we just don't have a lot of options. I think we probably just play the Rook Turret and we try and block the Wyvern that way. And then we hopefully can draw into some more lands here. I'm still holding out hope that we can go Blitzball Star into Scorpion Sentinel. But yeah, this turns into a 4-4 is pretty good. And I would assume they're just going to make their Dragon's Wyvern unblockable as they are the aggressor here. Realm Sketching is pretty decent. We are not going to be blocking their 4-4. Hopefully we can go untap land here. We don't. Valkyrie Aerial Unit's actually pretty good though. So let's do that. Let's Surveil too, and let's go find these lands. They're somewhere in the deck. And yeah, let's keep them both there. We are going to take that action. I do not want a Chocomog at this moment. I will say the Retrieve the Esper is also pretty bad, but we're going to play that land. We are not attacking, and we're going to have to make some uncomfortable blocks here for sure. I will say, too, like their Jill is just going to be a problem because it can give one of their creatures unblockable. But next turn we can go Sentinel into, or Blitzball Star into Sentinel, which will feel okay. But I assume they'll just transform the Jill here. So they're just going to transform their Jill and give something else unblockable. I assume it's, either the Rook Turret or the Scorpion Sentinel, just because both are uncomfortable blocks for us. I think we have to block the Scorpion Sentinel with our aerial unit, which feels particularly bad. And then now we will go Blitzball Star into Sentinel. I am going to take this action, see what we draw. Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum is interesting. That's good. I think we discard the You Are Not Alone. It's just not doing a ton for us here. We'll play out our island, and we are not going to be attacking. We're going to get quite close to dying here just because the Jill is going to be able to attack, make something else unable to be blocked. So they are going to give the Dragoon's Wyvern the unblockable here, which is interesting. What's tough is we're kind of forced to block the 3/3, which means that we're taking 6. We're going to slowly just lose to the Dragoon's Wyvern here. So we're going to block like this. Does not feel fantastic. Noctis, Prince of Lucius is pretty cool. I've not seen people play with that card all that much. But our opponent's doing the thing here. They've got a super solid normal deck with a normal amount of lands in it. They get the Scorpion Sentinel back, which is pretty strong. I think now we're at 7 lands. So we can play the Retrieve the Esper as a decent enough blocker. And then we will play the Stuck in Summoner Sanctum next turn. I will say they're just going to Jill our token, but there's not much else we can do here. Oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about the tapping the lands. Yeah, we're just going to lose here. I mean, we weren't going to win this game regardless. They bounce that. They attack everywhere. We're down to 2. Yeah, let's get out of here. All right, we go down there. We're now 2-2 on the day, but I'm confident this deck can get it done. We can bounce back in this next one. All right, hopping into this next one, we go first. Oh, it's close. I think it's probably a keep. I think if we go down into any card disadvantage, our deck is in trouble. We can play the Ash on 3, and then hopefully we can attack with it and go and get an equipment for ourselves. Oh, there's a land. That's huge. So we can play the Sage's Newlist now on 2. Drawing an island is awesome there. Town Greeter is fine. I would assume that we might just attack right through that. Because we've got the Ash next turn we want to attack with. I think we're okay with this trade. Just clearing the battlefield as much as we can, and then we will play our Ash Princess of Dalmasca here. 3/2 isn't great, but I'm hopeful it can do a little bit of work for us. Dark Knight's Greatsword is good. I do think now we just attack with it, and we go and try and find an artifact. Ooh, Lionheart is fantastic. So I'm going to take the Lionheart, and we are actually, if they don't block, we would have used it. Does not have flash, but we're just going to play the Titus Blitzball start here, and then our Mountains of Retrieving the Espers should be okay. Hopefully they just play 1 creature here. Oh, removal spell is really, really strong. That's a bummer. So now we'll just play a Retrieve the Esper and a Plains. Oh, removal spell is so good right there. That's tough. Bard's Bow is pretty good. They could also equip the Dark Knight's Greatsword and do some damage there. I think we'll start by just attacking. If they want to trade, that is fine by me. And then we are just going to play out our other Retrieve the Esper, and we're going to keep up the You're Not Alone here. Genova is quite strong, so they're going to be able to put a counter on the... Oh, goodness me. They're going to be able to put 4 counters. Oh, this game. So it's a 7-7. Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's so good. Yeah. We will get Housefire 7-7. Yeah, that's brutal. Brutal. Best Genova I have seen in a minute. I don't know how we get rid of that. I think all we really can do is attack through it and hope to kill it this way. But yeah, I think we're just dead here. So we'll play our Titus out. We'll play our Dreams of Laguna. I guess this will give it +4/+4. Do we want to try to go draw a plane so we can play the You're Not Alone? And we can try and kill their Genova that way? Let's do it. Let's see if we can go to the plains. Plains on top. Swamp cycling's fine. I'm actually kind of surprised they swamp cycled that. Okay, now we can draw plains. Plains. Island is close. Not quite it. So we're probably just dead. Colosseum Behemoth is great. So we're super dead. I will say our opponent's deck, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Haven't seen Genova do this much work ever.
It's actually, I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
And we get stomped here. Absolutely smacked. Our deck wasn't that serious. But we certainly go down here today. I mean, I don't even know what we were supposed to do here. An 11-11 is crazy work, and we go down. We go down. Nothing we can do about it. Really, hats off to our opponent. That was impressive, to say the least. And we are now 2-3 on the day. This is where our journey ends with this deck. So here is a deck that goes down today. We only had 15 lands, which was really hard. I think it made it to where we were stumbling a lot early in games. But we did get a couple wins in there as well. I think if we curved out, the deck could be good. But we were into some really good decks today, had some fun games, and hopefully you enjoyed watching. So based on my performance, I'm giving away 2 packs of Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy to one of you. All you have to do to claim this is to like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below on how you think I did. Thank y'all so much for watching. Until next time.